Jai Saparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiu Ki Jai Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnu Pade Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnu Pad Paramanzasta Tarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Padasta Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. I think it needs to be a bit louder. Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurkishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Charja Baladeva Jibhusan Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivas Yamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Gaur Parsada Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sigo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvada Shavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiu Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiu Ki Jai. Shrimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashta Sakhi Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda Ki Jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Purnamasi Yogamaya Devi Ki Jai. Shri Gopi Swar Mahadev Ki Jai. Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhana Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiyo Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Purushottam Kshetra Dham Ki Jai. Jai Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Srina Shringa Dev Ki Jai. Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charu Dham Charu Sampradaya Charu Acharya Ki Jai. Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai. Orananya Shaka Mat Samuha Ki Jai. Shri Vishva Vaishnava Raj Sabha Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Jaya Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari 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 Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Nama Shrishtam Manamapi Sachiputra Sarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Urupurim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasyam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi. Hey Shri Guru Jnana Dadina Bandho Swananda Data Karunaika Sindho Vrindavana Sina Hitavatara Prasidha Radha Pranaya Prachara Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahodito Gaudau Daye Pushpavanto Chitro Shamdo Tamonudo Pancha Tattvatmatam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsidebai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my Dandavat Pranams, my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Diksha and Siksha Gurudevs Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Ashtatarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. My Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all my Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga and to my Siksha Guru Varga. My Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavas. So we're continuing now with the final part 3 of the Golden Volcano of Divine Love by His Divine Grace Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. This is the third part called the conclusion of the book, and the title of that conclusion is A Drop of Divine Love. So we've read a few pages into this. Do you need another chair? Sundar, Gopal, do you need another chair? We have more chairs. Oh, because you were using that chair. Okay. So just to summarize a little bit, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj is telling that if we analyze the very basis of surrender, then we must ask, where does surrender begin? If we're doing an analysis of surrender and we want to understand the basis of surrender, then we have to ask the question, where does surrender begin? Now, in full surrender, There are no rights. No rights. Whenever any rights are established, then surrender becomes unnecessary. You know? If you want to establish, oh, I have my right to this, or I have my right to that, then there's no necessity of surrender, because surrender means no rights. So we cannot think, oh, we must fight for our innate rights. Just like in the world today, everyone's starting to get very upset with the way things are on all levels. And they're marching, right? And they're voicing their disagreement, they're voicing their dissatisfaction, and they're stating their rights like this. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj says that to a certain extent, we may try for our rights in this world, but in Krishna's pastimes, no. This mentality, it has no place at all. What mentality? What mentality has no place at all in Krishna's pastimes?
Claiming for rights.
What?
Claiming for rights.
Yes, exactly. There are no rights. And even the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, can she demand her rights? Can Lakshmi demand? Huh? No. Lakshmi Devi cannot enter there. Where can she not enter? Ras Leela? Ras Leela she cannot enter. She wanted to enter. You'd think that she has the right to enter because she's the eternal consort of Lord Narayan. Wouldn't you think that? Wouldn't you think that she has the rights? But no. Even the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, cannot enter there, so what to speak of others? So it is inconceivable. That's what it is. It's inconceivable. Krishna, he is not under any law, or he is not within anyone's fist. As it says in English, all rights reserved. All rights reserved. If they want to tell you that you have all rights, it's okay, all rights reserved. You can do what you want. But Krishna is the ultimate all rights reserved. So, everything is His sweet will. That's Krishna's position. Everything that exists is His sweet will. But He is absolute good. That's the thing about Him. Yes, everything is His sweet will, but guess what? He's absolute good. His sweet will is all good. And that's something that you have to absolutely embrace in surrender, in Sharanagati. That Krishna is all good, absolute. And because He's absolute good, that is our solace. That is our comfort. Knowing this fact, Krishna is absolute good. So we cannot enter into His domain as a matter of our right. No. Even Lord Brahma, even Lord Shiva and Lakshmi Devi cannot enter there. But still, if we take the path chalked out by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can enter. Then we can enter. And we can achieve a position there. A position. Imagine having a position there. That you have an eternal serving position in the spiritual world. By Mahaprabhu, His mercy, it's possible. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj is expressing that this is so rare and so dear, so valuable, and so desirable. Even Brahma, Shiva, they want this. It's so desirable. So, how do we get there? We must look for the magnanimity. We must look for the magnanimity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's our only position, that He's magnanimous. Yes. We must look for His magnanimity. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva aspire for His magnanimity. And they are praying for a drop of His mercy. That's what they're praying for, a drop of His mercy. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, He brought that here in a flood, not just a drop. He brought that here in a flood. And He inundated everyone with that nectar. That nectar of which even a drop is rarely to be had or even to be thought about, to get a drop of that love. But Mahaprabhu came and inundated everyone. So we must approach His mercy with such an attitude of hankering and expectation. That's how we have to approach. Hankering, expectation. His gift is so great and so magnanimous. Who can even understand it? Who can understand it? So with two verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of them from the mouth of Krishna Himself, and the next from the mouth of Uddhava, He takes us straight to that highest place. He takes us straight there with these two verses. And He eliminates so many external things. So we read these verses the other day, where Krishna is telling Uddhava, "O Uddhava, neither Brahma, nor Shiva, nor Baladev, nor Lakshmi, nor even my own self are as dear to me as you are, Uddhava." So Krishna has stated what's Uddhava's position. He's the most dear to Krishna. Even more dear to Krishna than Krishna's own self. Na tata me priyatama atma yonir na shankara na cha sankarshano na shrir naivatma cha yata bhavan. But now, since Krishna has installed Uddhava in such a position that he's the most dear to Krishna, now we have to hear what Uddhava says, right? If Uddhava is in that position, then we should listen to what Uddhava has to say. So what does Uddhava say? After he visits the gopis in Braj, after he sees Srimati Radhika in her mad prem speaking with a bumblebee, after he spends 2 months there, then what does he say? He's completely astonished by this prem of the gopis. And he glorifies the gopis. And he says, Asamaho charana renu jashamaham syam. Even if I can just have one tiny speck of dust from the lotus feet of the gopis, oh, my whole life will be completely fulfilled. So in order to get that one speck of dust, it's not an easy thing to get that from the gopis. You have to first of all be in their proximity. So he devises a plan. He prays that he can become a bush. So that when the gopis are walking, some little dust particle may come on him in the form of a bush. You see? And he says that the gopis, why are they so elevated? Why are they in such highest of the high positions? Because Uddhava is in the highest position outside of Braj. But now why are the gopis in such a high position? Uddhava gives his estimation why. What does he say? Ya dustyajam swajanam aryam patam cha hitva. That the gopis of Vrindavan have given up, they've given up the association of their husbands, of their sons, of their other family members, who are very difficult to renounce. Very difficult. We can't even imagine in their Western this time period in Kali Yuga, where all the cultures have dissipated and deteriorated to nil practically. Only a tiny little bit left in India, but even India is becoming completely westernized and contaminated. All culture they're losing. But what was the culture at that time? Impossible for a woman to leave her husband, for a woman to leave her children, her family members, Difficult to renounce? Impossible to renounce. Not only that, they even sacrificed their entire what? Swajanam Arya. Arya means their religious principles. A woman without religious principles in Vedic culture is just outcast, just has no position at all. But they even gave that up. And who did they give it up for? Bejur Mukunda Padavim Shudibir Vimrigyam. They gave that up. For what? To take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. And who is searching after those lotus feet of Krishna? All the Vedas. All of the Vedic literatures, Shruti Bir. The Shrutis means the Vedas personified. Vimrigyam, they're searching for Krishna's lotus feet. But the gopis gave up everything and came directly to his lotus feet. So, therefore, Uddhava says, "Oh, grant me the fortune to be born a blade of grass in Vrindavan, so that I may take the dust of those great souls upon my head." Anyone who's sitting here right now in this class or watching, we should try to understand. This is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's perfect presentation. He gave this explanation with these two shlokas. And here is the highest conception. By who? The person who's considered the most dear to Krishna. And then he comes, he sees the gopis, and he understands, I'm nowhere. I'm nowhere. I'm nothing compared to them. This is our Gaudiya Guru Varga. This is the conclusion. That what? Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadama Brindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita. Who are the highest worshippers of Aradhya Bhagavan Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan? Who's his highest worshippers? Ramya Kachidupasana. Vrajavadhu. Yeah, Vrajavadhus are the highest. You know, just remembering, it's a little bit side thing from this, but Srila Prabhupada told in a letter to one of the early devotees, and later on he also directly told. He says, if you are disturbed by material lust to gratify your sex urge, what should you do? Remember the gopis. Remembrance of the gopis is so powerful and so purifying. It will destroy that. And I have a godbrother who told his own story. I won't say who he is. But in his early life as a disciple of Prabhupada, he was very, very, very agitated and disturbed. And he had heard that Prabhupada said, read Krishna book. Read Ras Leela. And he did it every night. Otherwise he would not be able to sleep and he would become lusty. And he says, yes, it's true. Yes. So, we're talking about the gradation of theism. Remember this topic from the other day? What is theism? And what is the gradation? Gradation means different levels of theism. So if you begin at the first level, then you begin to trace out. Where is that gradation starting? From Lord Brahma. From Lord Brahma, who is the creator of the universe. But then where do you go from there? You go to Krishna's intimate friend Uddhav in Dwarka. Then Uddhav takes us directly to Vrindavan to reveal the highest devotion. And he eliminating various prospects in our progressive march towards divinity. We have to march on. We have to march on. And the way is that of surrender, of loving devotion. And not mere formal devotion, no. Loving devotion. So now Srila Sridhar Maharaj quotes the verse from the Upadeshamrita, wherein Rupa Goswami is describing the gradation of the realms of the spiritual world. So he says, Vaikuntaj janito vara madhupuri tatrapi rasot savad vrindaranya udarapani ramanat tatrapi govardhana radha kundamihapi gokulapate premamrita plavanat kuryad asya virajato giritate sevam viveki naka. You know this verse? Anyone? Vaikuntaj? Huh? So, what's the translation? So Rupa Goswami is saying that superior to the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha, okay, Vaikuntha, we all know where Vaikuntha is. Outside of the material universes, outside of the Mahatattva, Vaikuntha. Vaikuntaj. Janito vara madhupuri. So now, what is superior to Vaikuntha in terms of transcendent? Why are you all smiling? Is something about this, Vaikuntha? What? Tell me.
So, when I met her first time,
Yeah.
she told Vaikuntha is the same level like Navadvip.
Okay.
Now I'm smiling because I remember.
I understand. But she did not know. None of us knew before. Yes, now she's knowing. None of us knew before we came to Krishna consciousness. None of us knew. Even what's in this universe. What to speak of what's beyond this universe. But Rupa Goswami is directly saying that superior even to the realm of Vaikuntha, outside of the spiritual, outside of the Mahatattva, the material universes, then you come to the Viraja, and beyond that is what? All Vaikuntha planets. And that area, that region is infinite. There's also infinite numbers of Vaikuntha planets. And do you know how big the Vaikuntha planets are? How big?
Our universe.
Yes, as big as our universe. Right? And so our little Earth planet that we're on here is very tiny. But the Vaikuntha planets are bigger than our universes. So, but what is superior? This is the estimation of Srila Rupa Goswami. What is superior to the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha? First of all, Mathura. And why? Why is Mathura superior to Vaikuntha? Although Mathura is also within this world, when Krishna comes and performs his pastimes, he exhibits the transcendental Dhamma. And Mathura is there. So why? What makes Mathura more superior than Vaikuntha?
Because Krishna pastimes in this place.
His pastimes.
Krishna himself performs.
Yeah, but which pastime? Which one? It's mentioned by Rupa Goswami here why Mathura is superior to Vaikuntha. And he says here, Janito Vara Madhupuri. That means that because Krishna has performed his appearance pastime there, that makes it superior to Vaikuntha. Because is Lord Narayan ever born? Is there any appearance pastime? No. But when Krishna comes, he appears. So he appeared in Mathura, the first understanding, the first level of understanding. Now, next level. What's the first level? Vaikuntha. What's the next level? Now what's the next level after that? Vrindavan. We're not talking about beyond in the Nityadam. Here Rupa Goswami is talking about how Krishna descended onto this plane and exhibited all of his pastimes. He's not talking about in the spiritual world. First he mentions the spiritual world Vaikuntha, but then he says Mathura is even superior to that spiritual world of Vaikuntha. And why? Because Krishna takes his birth there. Appears, he appears. That's different, but this is, in this analysis, there's a gradations that he's pointing out. Now, next, what's superior to Mathura? Yes, Vrindavan. Vrindaranya Udarapani Ramanat. Why? Because in Vrindavan, in the forest of Vrindavan, Krishna performed his rasa dance. Yes. Now, next level, better even still than Vrindavan is what? Govardhan. Why? Why Govardhan Hill is superior to the Ras Leela in Vrindavan? Yes, they perform most confidential pastimes in Govardhan. And that's why Giriraj Govardhan is glorified by the gopis, because Govardhan arranges everything. Has caves, beautiful sitting places with jewels, everything that's needed for Radha and Krishna's most intimate pastimes. Govardhan supplies. That's why he's called Haridas Varya, the best of all the servants of Hari. So, then, better still is Govardhan Hill, which was the site of even more confidential pastimes of love. More confidential. Now, but best of all is where? Best of all. Best of all. Ultimate best of all. Radha Kundam. Yes. Radha Kundamihapi Gokulapate Premamrita Plavanat. So Radha Kunda, yes. Why is it higher? It's part of Govardhan. Radha Kund is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill. Yes. But it's in the supreme position because of one particular feature. Do you know? Why is Radha Kunda in this supreme position? Premamrita Plavanat. Premamrita Plavanat means that there, Radha Kunda, it is overflooded with the nectar of the highest kind of divine love. The highest kind of divine love is what? Pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, and Radha Krishna especially. That place, Radha Kunda, is overflooded with this divine love that is manifested there. So finally then, Rupa Goswami is saying at the last line of this verse, Kuryad asya virajato giritate sevam viveki naka. He's saying that a person who's very capable of discriminating and discerning one thing from another, they're called a viveki. Have you heard that term before? Viveki? Vivek means to discriminate with your intelligence, to consider something and discriminate it very deeply. So a viveki is someone who's able to do that. So here Rupa Goswami is saying, which person who's a viveki, after understanding this science of devotion, after understanding how high is Radha Kunda in the whole sphere of all of Krishna's pastimes, then he says, who will not aspire? Who is there that is a viveki, but he will not aspire for the divine service of Srimati Radharani at Radha Kunda? If someone truly is a viveki, and they truly have used their intelligence to finally discern what are the glories of Radha Kunda, and why is this the highest, then he will come to the conclusion, because there, the service of Srimati Radharani at Radha Kunda, in the most intimate pastimes with Krishna, it is taking place there. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying that we must place our faith in these subtle things. What subtle things? What we just discussed. This is very subtle discrimination, very subtle. But we must place our faith in these subtle things. Only through faith of a finer order. Finer means much more specific, very high faith, very, very pure and powerful faith. So only through that kind of faith, of a finer order, can we be led to that highest quarter, to that highest domain. Only through very, very superior type of faith we can be led there. The highest conception is in the heart of Krishna. You want to find where the highest conception is? It's in the heart of Krishna himself. And we have to enter into the heart of Krishna, not any other place. Did you hear that? That we have to enter into the heart of Krishna. Is that possible for us to enter into the heart of Krishna? Huh? What do you think? Is that possible? That we, tiny, tiny, tiny little jivas, can enter into the heart of Krishna? What do you think? Is that possible? Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying, we have to enter into the heart of Krishna. Not any other place. No other place we have to enter. Only there, in the heart of Krishna. Why? Because the highest conception is in the heart of Krishna. Now, although Krishna's conjugal pastimes with the gopis, his Madhurya Leela, although those pastimes with the gopis, his Madhurya Leela pastimes are supreme, but guess what? They cannot stand alone. Krishna's pastimes with the gopis cannot stand alone. Now you should try to understand this very deeply. Why can Krishna's pastimes with the gopis not stand alone? He's saying that there are many other things which are present in Krishna's pastimes. What are those other things? Oh, Krishna's pastimes with his friends. His sakas, his cowherd friends. Oh, and Krishna's pastimes with his parents and all the elderly gopas and gopis. All of those pastimes are essential in doing what? In supporting his pastimes of amorous love, Madhurya Leela pastimes. So there must be Krishna's family and his friends, and there must be all the different groups of servitors. Even the environment of Vrindavan itself also has its valuable part to play. So in other words, Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, it doesn't stand alone. It stands in this environment which it is surrounded by all the different rasas. And they all enhance, they all support Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. Otherwise, Krishna's pastimes with the gopis cannot fully take place. Yes. So, and even the forest of Vrindavan, even the environment of the forest of Vrindavan, it has a very valuable part to play. So you're going to understand this very deeply by the time we're finished reading all of this. Because Srila Sridhar Maharaj is going to go in the direction of Krishna's final pastimes when he saw the gopis at Kurukshetra. And what was there? We've heard that before. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj is going to put it all into perspective. So, now he's asking the question, and what is Vrindavan? Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying. And what is Vrindavan? Oh, that Vrindavan, which is playing a very valuable part in Krishna's pastimes, that Vrindavan is made up of the sands of the river Yamuna. River Yamuna's sand. That Vrindavan has the jungle and the birds, the peacocks, the deer, the cows, the cowherd boys and calves, and the caves of Govardhan Hill, the motherly relatives. Everything is there. And it is well designed. Well designed and most suitable for the pastimes of Sri Krishna. Who designed Vrindavan? Who's the designer of Vrindavan? Yogamaya. Yogamaya makes all arrangements for Krishna's pastimes. And of course, Vrindadevi is an expansion of Yogamaya. So Vrindavan is very necessary for the pastimes of Radha and Govinda. Very necessary, the Vrindavan forest. They cannot meet anywhere else. So when Radharani meets Krishna in Kurukshetra, what happens? Her mind runs to Vrindavan. Why? She thinks that Krishna is here where we are now. We're here in Kurukshetra. Krishna's here, and I am also here. But still her mind runs to Vrindavan. Understand this point? Understand this point? Radharani is meeting Krishna at Kurukshetra after 100 years of separation. Understand? After 100 years of separation, Radharani is meeting Krishna at Kurukshetra. But why is it that Radharani's mind is running to Vrindavan? She wants to be in Vrindavan.
Vrindavan constantly Krishna. Because in Vrindavan constantly has an hour more.
That Vrindavan has another mood, did you say?
Like in Vrindavan Vrindavan is Krishna who was playing Radha.
It has different rules in this place.
Yeah.
Also, it's not attractive because that mode in Vrindavan more high.
Yeah. So now we'll understand this very, very specifically. That Radharani is meeting Krishna. She's meeting him directly in Kurukshetra. She was feeling separation all those years, 100 years. Now she's finally meeting him. And she's feeling, this is how she feels, that Krishna is here and I am also here. But her mind runs to Vrindavan. So in Kurukshetra, Srimati Radharani, she is hankering, she is desiring the environment of Vrindavan. She wants to have Sri Krishna's company there in Vrindavan. And all of Krishna's paraphernalia and all of his divine associates, they have their own unique value. Those who live there in Vrindavan. And none of them can be eliminated. They're part of the whole, organic whole. So, Radha Govinda cannot be taken away from Vrindavan. No, you can't take them away from Vrindavan any more than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can be taken away from Navadvip. Can you take Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu away from Navadvip? We're right here. We're sitting right here in Navadvip Dham. Can Chaitanya Mahaprabhu be taken away from Navadvip? Well, you may say, well, Mahaprabhu left Navadvip. Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Mahaprabhu went South India. He went so many places. So here, it's saying that Radha Govinda cannot be taken away from Vrindavan any more than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can be taken away from Navadvip. Because the whole thing is a system. It's a systema, a system. The whole thing, Navadvip Dham, Vrindavan Dham, system. You cannot take parts out of that system. One part cannot be snatched away from the other parts. No. So all the devotees, they all have a necessary part to play. All the devotees. In order, yes, to create the harmony of Krishna's pastimes. Yes. All the devotees have a part to play in order to create the harmony of Krishna's pastimes. Otherwise, it would not be living, but it would be dead. It would be artificial. It would be useless. It cannot even be imagined. So Krishna Leela is an organic whole. It's an organic whole, Krishna Leela. But Srimati Radharani, she says, here's how she expresses. She says, my mind is running straight towards Vrindavan. I have the main object of pleasure, who is Krishna himself. I have him right here. The main object of pleasure, Krishna himself. But, guess what? It is useless without the favorable paraphernalia of Vrindavan. Understand? Without the favorable paraphernalia of Vrindavan, it is useless. So, therefore Radharani's, her pain of separation rises to the highest point in Kurukshetra, where she has attained the object of her union after a long separation. And there, Krishna, he is very close, Very close. But without being surrounded by the favorable paraphernalia of Vrindavan, no, she cannot have the real advantage of union with Krishna. So this is 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the highest point of separation when Radharani and the gopis, they come to Kurukshetra to see Krishna after 100 years. But unless we understand this, what Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj is telling, we will not understand Radha and Krishna's pastimes. So we just heard that Srimati Radharani's pain of separation, it rises to the highest point there in Kurukshetra. Because she has attained the object of her union after a very, very long, long separation. And there, Krishna is very close. He's very close. But without being surrounded by the favorable paraphernalia of Vrindavan, she cannot have the real advantage of union. So in this way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained the mood of Srimati Radharani in Kurukshetra. Now, there's a very nice story that Srila Sridhar Maharaj is going to relate now. It is a story from the life of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that one time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he revealed the importance of Kurukshetra in a very unique way. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, the words of our Guru Maharaj were mostly very revolutionary. He was a revolutionary guru. Yes. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, when I was a beginner, with only 2 years or so in the Gaudiya Math, then I was in charge of the Kurukshetra temple. Srila Sridhar Maharaj actually was in charge. They started a Gaudiya Math at Kurukshetra, and he was in charge there. And he was only 2 years in the Gaudiya Math at the time. So once I came to the Calcutta headquarters at the hired house in Ultadanga for the yearly preaching festival in Calcutta. So after the festival, I was supposed to return to Kurukshetra. Then Srila Prabhupada was thinking of opening a theistic exhibition in Kurukshetra, which would show dioramas of how Krishna and his friends came there from Dwarka, and how the gopis came there from Vrindavan. These would be depicted, you understand, in these diorama exhibitions. Srila Bharati Maharaj also mentions this, how Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he selected this Bhakti Hriday Bon Maharaj to be in charge of that. So it's a very nicely told story in his book, My Beloved Masters. So anyway, so during this, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained that during the solar eclipse, there was a solar eclipse, then all these came from Dwarka, from Vrindavan. They came to bathe in a lake there, a sacred lake at Kurukshetra. That lake is called Ram Hrad, sacred lake in Kurukshetra. All came to bathe there. And Srila Prabhupada wanted to show that very pastime with a diorama, and so the exhibition was arranged. And he ordered handbills to be printed, like we call them flyers, you know, like to pass out. 20,000 handbills were circulated in the area and inviting people to come for the exhibition. So now, now Srila Sridhar Maharaj tells, in this connection he told us, you all know that really only the bogus, hollow people and the men of shallow thinking, only those persons, they like Vrindavan. Only bogus persons, shallow thinkers, they like Vrindavan. Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, I was very much perplexed to hear this. He said, I had been told that Vrindavan is the highest place of spiritual perfection. I had heard that one who has not mastered his senses cannot enter Vrindavan. Only the liberated souls can enter Vrindavan, and they can have the opportunity of discussing Krishna Lila. So Vrindavan is for the liberated souls. Those who are not liberated from the demands of their senses, they may live in Navadvip, but the liberated souls may live in Vrindavan. But now, Prabhupada was saying that the shallow thinkers, they appreciate Vrindavan, but a man of real bhajan, real divine aspiration, he will aspire to live in Kurukshetra. You heard this before? So now Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he was a devotee in the Gaudiya Math for 2 years at that point. Now, hearing this from him, hearing him make this statement, that Vrindavan is for the shallow thinkers, and those who are doing real bhajan, they aspire to live in Kurukshetra. When I heard this, I felt as if I had fallen from the top of a tree. What is this? I thought. What is this? What is this? I am very acute listener. I am a very acute listener. So I was very keen to catch the meaning of his words. And then the next thought that he gave to us, it was that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, after visiting many different places of pilgrimage, he remarked, I would like to spend the last days of my life in Kurukshetra. I shall construct a cottage near Ramhrad, and I shall pass the rest of my life there. Kurukshetra is the real place of bhajan. So now Srila Sridhar Maharaj is going to explain. So why? Why? Why are they considering that Kurukshetra is the real place of bhajan? Now he's explaining a particular conception that service is more valuable according to the intensity of its necessity. Understand that point? Service becomes more valuable according to the intensity of its necessity. So therefore, merchants, people who sell goods, if they're very shrewd, if they're very sharp and intelligent, they seek a market in wartime. Because in that dangerous position, money is spent like water, without any care for its value. They can earn more money if a war comes. So in the same way, when Srimati Radharani's necessity, when her necessity reaches its zenith, zenith means topmost point, zenith. When Srimati Radharani's necessity reaches its zenith, then service to her becomes extremely valuable. And according to its necessity, the service is valued. And in Kurukshetra, Srimati Radharani is in the highest necessity. Why? Why is she in the highest necessity in Kurukshetra? Because Krishna is so close. But their Vrindavan Leela is impossible. He's right here. But their Vrindavan Leela is impossible. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj gives an example from the game of football. So in football, soccer, if the ball is just inches from the goal, but again it comes back, so that is considered a great loss. And in the same way, after a long separation, Krishna is there in Kurukshetra. So the hankering for union felt by his devotees must come to its greatest point. The hankering for union felt by his devotees must come to its greatest point. But because he is in the role of a king, they cannot meet intimately. The circumstances do not allow the Vrindavan Leela to take place. So at that time, Srimati Radharani needs the highest service from her group, the Sakhis. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, that in that situation where Radharani needs this highest service, a drop of service, a drop, it will draw the greatest amount of prem, divine love. In the pastimes of Radha Govinda, there are two aspects: Sambhog, divine union, in Vipralamba, divine separation. And when Radha and Krishna are very near to each other, but they can't meet intimately, then service at that time can draw the greatest gain for the servitors. So therefore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I shall construct a hut on the banks of Ram Hrad in Kurukshetra, and I shall contemplate rendering service to the divine couple. If I can achieve that standard, where the prospect of service is so high, then there is no possibility of returning to this mundane plane at any time. So, that's the understanding of why did Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati say, Vrindavan is for shallow thinkers. Because the whole picture is that we want to serve Radha and Krishna, and especially Srimati Radhika. And in exchange for our service, we will get higher and higher divine love and nectar of their pastimes, service in their pastimes. That's the reward. So therefore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had this discrimination. I want to make a hut there and do my bhajan there and render service to the divine couple in Kurukshetra. Now, back to the pastime of Radharani coming to Kurukshetra. So when she arrived in Kurukshetra, then Srimati Radharani, she said this verse. Now what is this verse? This verse is written by Rupa Goswami in Jagannath Puri. When did he write this verse? When Mahaprabhu was expressing his moods in front of Jagannath. And Mahaprabhu was singing another verse, which appeared to be like ordinary, mundane emotions of a lady who met her husband. Now he's her husband. But when they were young, they met in this romantic place on the bank of a river and all of that. And she's expressing how her heart is longing to again be there. But nobody could understand why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was expressing those moods. Yeah. But Rupa Goswami was there. He saw Mahaprabhu. He heard what he was singing. Then he went back to his bhajan kutir at Haridas Thakur's bhajan kutir place, Siddhabakul, and he wrote this shloka. And this shloka is the purport of that other shloka. This shloka is actually explaining why Mahaprabhu was singing about this mundane couple and this mundane love affair. So here, now Rupa Goswami completely opened it up, and he said that Srimati Radharani is expressing this mood at Kurukshetra. Priyaksoyam Krishna Sahachari Kurukshetra Militas Tataham Saradha Tadidamubayo Sangama Sukam Tatapyantam Kelan Madhura Murali Panchama Jushe Manome Kalindi Pulina Vipinaya Sprihayati. So she's saying, oh my dear friend, now I am at last reunited with my most beloved Krishna in Kurukshetra. And I am the same Radharani, and he is the same Krishna, and we are enjoying our meeting, but still I wish to return to the banks of the Kalindi, where I could hear the sweet melody of his flute sounding the 5th note beneath the trees of the Vrindavan forest. So this is Radharani's mood. And you know that when Rupa Goswami wrote this verse on a palm leaf, after he wrote the verse, he put it in the thatched roof of the hut just for keeping. But in the meantime, he went to take his bath, and then in the meantime, Mahaprabhu came there with Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, and other associates. And Mahaprabhu saw this sticking out from the thatched. And he pulled it out and he read it. At the moment when he was reading it, what happened? Rupa Goswami arrived back. And he fell at the feet of Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu looked at him, smiling, and he said, how could you understand my heart? And he gave him a love slap on his cheek. So, wherever Radharani and Krishna are, wherever they are, then Vrindavan is necessary. And Vrindavan means the favorable paraphernalia. So in this way, Vrindavan is unique. So when Krishna met the inhabitants of Vrindavan in Kurukshetra, then he first came to Nanda and Yashoda's camp after their long separation. We have to understand there's like millions of people there. This is not a small little gathering. There's a few million people there in Kurukshetra. The whole Yadu dynasty, okay? All the Brijbasis have come. All of their servants, everything. All the royal paraphernalia, elephants, chariots, infantry, all the soldiers, everything is there. But Radha and Krishna are now going to meet for the first time after Krishna left Vrindavan. But wherever Radharani is, and wherever Krishna is, then Vrindavan is necessary for them. So Vrindavan means the favorable paraphernalia. And in this way, Vrindavan is unique. No other place. When Krishna met the inhabitants of Vrindavan in Kurukshetra, he first came to Nanda and Yashoda's camp after their long, long separation, and he came there to show parental respect to them. So in the midst of their great disappointment, they felt, oh, our boy has come to see us at last. Nanda and Yashoda felt like that. So it was as if life had returned to the dead. That's what it was like. And after some courtesy was shown to them, then Krishna made arrangements to meet privately with the gopis. And then suddenly, he appeared in their camp. There are so many camps. So suddenly he appeared in the camp of the gopis. Now externally, Krishna was the leader of so many kings in India. And the gopis had come from some unknown quarter where they lived in the jungle in the society of milkmen. So externally they had no position. And Krishna held the highest position in the political and the royal society. He was the central figure. He was like the eyeball in every eye. And they were in a helpless, in a poor, and a neglected condition, the gopis. So the gopis pleaded with Krishna. Here's what they told to Krishna from the 10th canto. The group of gopis told Krishna, "O you who have a lotus navel, we know that the great master yogis, they have nothing to do with this mundane world, and they try to meditate upon your holy lotus feet. Their interest is in higher realization in the conscious world." Who? The yogis. So the gopis are talking about Yogeshwaraya, Hridi Vichintya Magada Bodha. They're talking about how the yogis meditate upon your lotus feet, O Krishna. And they have nothing to do with this material world. They're in such high realization in the conscious world. They have nothing to do with this temporary unconscious matter. And they are said to center their highest attention on your lotus feet. So the gopis are telling that to Krishna. And those who are busy elevating their life in this world of exploitation, they are also busy worshipping your lotus feet to escape the entanglement of action and reaction. So like the karmis. So the center of interest for the elevationist karmis and the salvationist jnanis and yogis is your lotus feet. The gopis are telling that to Krishna. They said this verse, Ahush chate nalina naba padara vindam yogeshwarar hridi vichintya magada bodhai samsara kupa patitottaranava geham jusham apimanasi udiyat sadana. So the gopis have told Krishna about these great yogis. They are Yogeshwaraya. They are the Ishwaras of all the yogis. But then they say to Krishna, and in comparison with those yogis, what are we? What are we? We are just simple people from the country with cows as our wealth. We are animal traders who live in the country, who trade in the cow business. We sell curd and milk on the outskirts of society. We are neither scientific exploiters, nor are we the kind of exploiters who do research in the world of consciousness. We only know family life. We have no other qualifications. We are busy with our family life in the lower section of society. But in our audacity, we pray that if at any time you would kindly condescend to extend your lotus feet to our negligible hearts, then we would think ourselves blessed. We are busy in our family matters. We do not know scriptural life, or we don't know the methods of the Salvationists. We know nothing of yoga, Gyan, Vedanta, or the Vedas. Our ultimate concern is neither with scriptures or moral standards. We hold a negligible position in society, and we simply pray that in the midst of our family life, we may remember your holy lotus feet. That's our prayer. Please grant this to us. We can't expect anything more from you. So that was their petition. That was their request from Krishna. Now, Krishna replied to the gopis, and he said to them a very kind of encouraging words to the gopis. But still, it was speaking of tattva. What is Krishna's position? How will they be able to meet him? So when the gopis said that to Krishna, we want your lotus feet, that we can place your lotus feet on our breasts. We're simple cowherd girls. We're just cowherd people taking care of cows, selling milk, yogurt. We're no big scientists, speculators, jnanis, karmis, yogis, nothing. But if you will be kind to us, O Krishna, please come and place your lotus feet so we can embrace your lotus feet in our heart. So then Krishna answered the gopis and he said, Mai bhaktir hi bhutanam amritatvaya kalpate dishtya yad asin mat sneho bhavati nam mad apanaha. Krishna told them, yes, gopis, I know. People, they want devotion to me to achieve eternal life. People in general, they want this so that they can achieve eternal life. To cross the limit of mortality, to go beyond this mortal world and to have eternal life, they come to me and they worship me. For these reasons, they want my service. But fortunately for you, O gopis, you have some natural affection towards me. And that will ultimately bring you to me. Natural affection. Now, this is the formal or the superficial meaning of what Krishna spoke to the gopis. Because there's other deeper meanings. The great preceptors of our line, they have squeezed out another meaning from these prayers. And they are conscious of the private relationship between the two parties. So therefore they have drawn out another meaning based on the divine sentiment between the lover and the beloved. We have to understand this about Krishna's pastimes, especially when he's speaking with the gopis. And in Braj, there are outer meanings to what they speak, then there are also inner meanings, then there's different levels of those inner meanings. This is Braj. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying Krishna told these words, but this is the formal meaning or the superficial meaning of what Krishna spoke. So, here's what the acharyas have said. What is the private, the real relationship between the two parties? So the acharyas they've drawn out another meaning based on the divine mood, sentiment between the lover and the beloved. So when the gopis prayed to Sri Krishna at Kurukshetra, their real meaning was this. What was the real meaning of the gopis? Oh, we remember that one day that you sent Uddhav to console us. We remember that day. He arrived in this chariot. You had sent him to us to console us. And he recited many scriptural references about how the whole world is mortal, how it is nothing, and how we shall all have to die, and how affection has no great value. So attachment must be cut out. This is what Uddhava told to us. He said that we must try to liberate ourselves from any attraction for the environment, and we should try to attain salvation. So you, Krishna, you wanted to tell all these apparently sweet things to us through Uddhav. And now, you yourself are also showing us the same path? You say that you are great. You say this about yourself, that you are great and that everyone should try for their highest interest to think of you. So this explanation is also found in Chaitanya Charitamrita. What Srila Sridhar Maharaj is telling are directly verses taken from Chaitanya Charitamrita. The gopis tell Krishna, do you think, Krishna, that we are yogis who will be satisfied with abstract meditation on you? Can we be satisfied by imagination? We are not a party to that. Neither are we karmis, neither are we fruitive workers who are incurring a great debt from nature, who come to your door to get relief, praying, oh God, please relieve us from our previous sins. We do not belong to either of these two sections. So the gopis said to Krishna, what are we? We want to live with you as your family. We are interested neither in abstract thinking, nor in using you to clear off the faults of karma, or to nullify our sinful activities. We don't want to use you for any other purpose. We want to have a direct family life with you. Don't you know that, Krishna? And still you send messages through Uddhav, and now this? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? This is their inner meaning. This is the inner meaning of what the gopis are speaking to Krishna. So, Krishna's answer to the gopis, it also has an inner aspect. And he replies to the gopis, oh gopis, you know that everyone, they want me. Everyone wants me. And they want, through devotion, they want me to help them to attain the highest position in the world of eternal benefit. That's why people approach me. If they have a connection with me, then they consider themselves fortunate. But on the other hand, I consider myself fortunate because I have come in touch with the valuable affection that I found in your hearts. The gopis read this inner meaning of Krishna's words in that way. And when Radharani could see into the inner meaning of Krishna's reply, oh, she became satisfied. Did you hear that? When Radharani could see into the inner meaning of Krishna's reply, now she became satisfied. Because why? Because wherever he may be in the physical sense, she was thinking, but at heart, he is mine alone. She composed her troubles within, and she returned to Vrindavan thinking, he cannot but come to join our party again very soon. There is no other way. He must come to join our party in Vrindavan again very soon. So she was satisfied by those words of Krishna. So in Padyavali, Srila Rupa Goswami, he reveals the inner meaning of this verse. That when Krishna came to the camp of the gopis in Kurukshetra, he suddenly found Srimati Radharani. And he also stooped down, he stooped down as if to touch her feet. And Radharani began to back away, saying, what are you doing? You are trying to touch my feet? And she shuddered and she said, you have done nothing wrong. You are my master. You are at liberty to do whatever you want. I am your maid servant, and I should try with every nerve to satisfy you. You have committed no crime. I am the real criminal. How? Because I still drag on my body and I drag on my life. This is my crime. I could not die from your separation, and still I show my face to the public. I am not worth your divine affection. The whole burden of breaking the law of love is on my head. So are you understanding this conversation between Krishna and the gopis and between Krishna and Radharani in Kurukshetra? Are you understanding this? How Srila Sridhar Maharaj just explained everything. I'm getting only one answer, and the answer is this. Yes, it's a fact. You don't understand. You don't. You hear, but you cannot penetrate. Only a little bit. However, Srila Sridhar Maharaj spoke these words to us. He explained this. Who else explained this? And millions of times even more. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, he went all over the whole world. He explained all these things. But who can appreciate? Only practicing devotees can appreciate, who are practicing bhakti, who are practicing bhajan. They can have some little comprehension. And the more comprehension they have, the more relishable this is to them. This is what we want to enter into. But at this stage, some of us, on newer levels, we have no idea of this. But it has some benefit just to hear it, even though you cannot understand it. It will benefit even just to hear this. It will make an impression. So I'm Just going to read a little bit more, and then we'll finish for today. So, what did Radharani say to Krishna? When Krishna was trying to come forward and touch her feet, we just heard this, that Krishna was trying to come forward and touch Radharani's feet. So what did Radharani say to Krishna? What did Radharani do? What did Radharani do? Everybody's looking at him. Nobody heard. Nobody understood. Huh? What did Radharani do? Can tell? Yeah? She said what? Yes. She told Krishna, because Krishna was feeling that he had committed a great offense against her. So Krishna wanted to touch her feet. What was the offense that Krishna was committed, that he felt that he had committed against Radharani? By giving her so much pain and suffering. Yes? You have to turn it on, there, on the unit itself. By giving her so much pain and suffering. Go ahead. You can take that. Krishna was coming in front of Radharani at Kurukshetra, in front of all the gopis. And he's the greatest king, he's the supreme person. Everyone knows Krishna in this way. And he comes to touch the feet of Radharani. I have committed a very great offense. That's his mood. What does Radharani do? When Krishna tries to come and touch her feet, what does she do? Yes, say it in the mic. Oh, you have the mic. You have to turn the volume up.
I just said how she just read and...
It's not turned on there? There it is.
Hello?
Yeah.
She just stepped back and said, oh, Krishna, what trying to do? You are my master, and you trying to touch my feet.
As if, why are you trying to touch my feet? Because you're considering yourself to have committed a great offense. So but why did she pull away? No, but what was her understanding? You're not the culprit, I am. Did you catch that?
She blamed herself for separation.
No, she didn't blame herself for the separation. She blamed herself for what? For not dying. She said, I'm the real criminal. Because why? Because I didn't die in your separation. You have done nothing wrong. You have every right. But I am the criminal. That's Radharani. So in this way, Srimati Radharani spoke. Now, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is pointing out that Mahaprabhu also had a similar mood. Why? Because he has the bhavs, he has the moods of Srimati Radharani. Mahaprabhu does. So in very, very great humility of the highest prem, Mahaprabhu said, I do not have not even a bit of divine love for Krishna within me. He's speaking this in the mood of Radharani. That I don't even have a tiny bit of divine love for Krishna within me. Not even a slight scent of love for Krishna is to be traced within me. So you may ask, well then why are you shedding tears profusely and uninterruptedly? Mahaprabhu is telling in this verse, Krandami sobhagya baram prakashitum. Na prema gandosti darapi me haro krandami sobhagya param prakashitum vamshi vilasyanana lokanam vina vibarmi yat prana patangakan vrita. This is the verse that Mahaprabhu spoke. Na prema gandhosti. I don't even have the slightest whiff, the slightest scent of prema. So, but then somebody may say to Mahaprabhu, oh, but then why are you shedding tears profusely all the time, uninterruptedly, if you don't have even a scent of prema? Day and night, you're always shedding tears for Krishna. So how do you explain this? And then, oh, you don't know. You don't know. I only do this to make a show and to deceive the people in general into thinking that I have divine love for Krishna. And in this way, I want to become famous as a great devotee of Krishna. But I am a hypocrite. Why do I say so? Oh, the positive proof is this: I still live. That's the proof. I still live. I could not die. If I had any real love for Krishna, I would have died from his separation. So that is the positive proof that I have no trace of Krishna Prem within me. These are the words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Krishna Prem is so high and so attractive that once a person comes in contact with it, then no one can maintain his life without it. It is so high, so beautiful, so enchanting. It is heart-swallowing. Heart-swallowing. It is impossible even to conceive of it. Divine love of such a high degree, it is known as prema. And that divine love for Krishna is not to be traced in this mundane world. If by chance someone had any experience of that high and that vital kind of devotion, then by any separation from that, he would die instantly. It is so beautiful and magnanimous. We are out to search only for that divine love in this world. And Sriman Mahaprabhu came to distribute that to the world for our sake. You see. So, we haven't completed this conclusion yet. We will do it on another day. We'll just check. I think we came about halfway. Yeah, more than halfway. We'll definitely complete it in our class. We'll complete it in our class. But I just want to tell this one pastime, this one story that Srila Sridhar Maharaj related to that. You may remember or you may not remember because some of you are young. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying that, he said, I have heard that a group of people in South America, they all committed suicide because they felt that their faithful way of life was going to be destroyed by the present civilization. So any of us who are my age, we know what Srila Sridhar Maharaj is referring to here, because that was back in the 1980s. And there was a person who was a so-called Christian preacher. His name was Jim Jones. He was American, but he went to South America and started a big colony of these followers of him. And he was what they call fire and brimstone preacher, like, and talking about, you know, he was very good at manipulating the people. Yeah. So this became a huge event in the world news at that time. World news everywhere. These followers of this Jim Jones cult, in South America, they all took poison and they all committed suicide. He convinced those people. You heard of this ever? No. None of you heard of this, did you? Huh? You did? Okay. Yeah. So, why did they do that? Of course, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is using this mundane example. And these people, some of them were somewhat forced, but all of them were convinced. Because he told them, don't worry, that after that, then we'll all be together again in heaven and like that, you see. So we'll just finish these bodies, you know. And they did this collectively, as a whole group. They all took poison and committed suicide. There's a few that fled, and then they told the whole story to the news, but most of them died.
The leader?
They even gave to the children, even their own children, you see. Because they had this faith, which was based upon the cheating and the lies of this bogus person. If I remember correctly, I can't remember. Yeah, he also did. He also. I'm pretty sure. I have to look.
Actually, he convinced that he also.
Huh?
Leader.
Yes, I know, the leader. But I cannot remember whether or not he committed suicide. I'm pretty sure he did. At any rate, the point that Srila Sridhar Maharaj, why is he bringing this up? Why is he citing this story? Because those people, they felt that their life and how they want to believe in religion and so forth, it was going to be destroyed by this present civilization. He gave so many reasons and political reasons and all of that. And those people, they could not tolerate that. But rather, they thought, let us take poison and leave this world behind. And then we can live safely in the world of our faith. We have no charm for anything in this mundane world. Let us go with peace. We are members of the peaceful world. Let us enjoy that peace which is independent of material acquisition. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, this is how they were thinking. So he says, we can agree that there is no charm here that shall make us hesitate to withdraw from this world. But we must also disagree, and we must say that our life in this world is valuable. Why? Why is our life in this world valuable? Because with this life, we can acquire a higher aspiration. We can have the chance of acquiring the goal, the final goal from this plane that we are on now. That's the chance we have. This human life is so valuable that with it, we can take the path of the highest divine conception. This human body is highly valued, and it is also very rarely achieved. Then he quotes the famous verse that Gurudev used to drill us on, this verse from 11th canto, that Krishna is speaking this to Uddhava in the 11th canto. Labdva sudurlabamidam bahusam bhavante manushyam artadama nityam apiha dhira turnam yateta napatim anumrityu yavat nishreyasaya vishaya Kalu sarva tasyat. So here's a paraphrasing of the translation that the human form of life is very rarely attained. And although it is temporary, but this human form gives us a chance to achieve the supreme goal of life. And therefore, those who are grave and intelligent, they should immediately strive for perfection. When? Now, right now, before another death occurs. There are so many forms of life in this world. The aquatics, the vegetable kingdom, the animals, the birds, the ghosts, and other living beings. But only in this human position do we hold the key to the complete solution of the problems of life. That's the translation of this verse. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj is telling us that if we can use this human life in a valuable way, then we can acquire the key by which to become free from the whole chain of life in this troublesome world. We can get rid of the bondage of all sorts of physical and mental troubles. The key is here in this human form of life. So we'll hear what Jiva Goswami has to say about this verse in our next class. Huh?
Excellent English. Maharaj English.
Of course. Yeah. Okay, any questions or comments before we finish today? 1:37. I went a little longer because our Sundar Gopalji, he will not be here. Day after tomorrow he's going. So we wanted to give a full, a very full meal on the plate. Yes.
Here is the question of Krishna Prabhavati from Facebook.
Yeah.
She asked if there is Svarupa of the Jiva.
If there is what?
Svarupa.
Swarupa of the Jiva.
Jiva is fixed, and one is situated in that Svarupa, like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva or Lakshmi. Why then pray for attaining a position that can never be had, like entering rasa dance of Lord.
Sundar Gopal, can you read that? You say move so he can sit there. Yeah. This is a question by Krishna Premavati.
So the question is, if Svarupa of the Jiva is fixed and one is situated in that Svarupa, like Lord Shiva or Lord or Lakshmi Devi, why then pray for attaining position that can never be had, like entering rasa dance of Shri Krishna?
Okay, so I'm trying to understand this. If the whole context is that if the Swarup is fixed in the Jiva, but then she gives the example of Lord Brahma. Huh? Talk in the mic.
Lakshmi Devi. She has first Svarup. She said that Lakshmi Devi, she has first Svarup. And why she prayed to the end?
To what?
To be in the Lord Shri Krishna pastimes in Rasa Lila. Why she prays if she has another Svarupa?
Very poorly worded question. It's not very clear.
Maybe it means, according to Madhvacharya, Italian information about some jivas is limited in according to their progress in life. Maybe she asking what if, because she limited on this position, why she wanna go higher, because it's not possible like this. I think she she tried to tell something about
Why she
it.
also enter Vrindavan
Because her mood not possible to go higher. Her swarup.
Read the words one more time. I'm going to try, and if I'm not understanding it clearly, then she should rewrite that, and we'll do it in the next class. No, I want to hear the words.
If the Svarupa of the Jiva is fixed,
If it's fixed,
it's fixed.
okay, next sentence.
And
Then what?
One is situated.
One is situated. Who is situated?
In that Svarupa.
Okay, if the Sarupa of the Jiva is fixed, and a particular person
Yes, like
is
Lord,
situated in that Swarup, like who?
like Lord Shiva
Yeah,
or Lakshmi Devi.
yeah.
Why they pray?
For attaining.
Why do they pray for what?
For attending.
Attaining.
Attending.
Attaining.
Attaining. Yes.
Attaining a position.
A position.
Not attending, attaining.
Attaining. Yes. Attaining.
Attaining.
A position
Why are they praying to attain a position in Braj?
that can never. Why they pray for attaining a position that can never be had, like entering rasa dance of Lord Shri Krishna.
Okay, now I understand the question. It's not very nicely, clearly worded, but the point is, her whole point that she's making is that if the Swarup of the Jiva is fixed, then why should anyone try to aspire to attain a higher position than their Swarup allows? And she gives the example of Lord Shiva, and she gives the example of Lakshmi Devi, correct? Yeah. Okay, but we should understand one thing. We should understand clearly. This is so high and so desirable that everyone is attracted. This what? Krishna's pastimes in Braj, Vrindavan. Lakshmi Devi, she has the eternal association of her Lord and Master, Lord Narayan. She's eternally serving Lord Narayan in the spiritual world, but yet she knows about the expansion. She considers that this Krishna form, where he's exhibiting all these sweet, beautiful, loving pastimes, especially Ras Leela, that she understands that this is her husband. He's expanded as Krishna. This can be clearly understood if you read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Mahaprabhu was visiting Sri Rangam, and he stayed for the 4 months of the rainy season with Venkata Bhatta and his family, Gopal Bhatta. And then one day Mahaprabhu, he had a conversation. He had a very nice conversation with Venkata Bhatta. And in that conversation, Mahaprabhu asked the question to him that you are worshipping Lakshmi Narayan, but do you know that Lakshmi, she wanted to enter the Ras Leela of Krishna. And she did austerities in Braj, in Vrindavan, to do that, to enter the Ras Leela of Krishna. And then Venkata Bhatta, he said, well, what is the harm? Krishna is an expansion of her own husband. There is no fault there, that she should want to also experience his form in this very beautiful, romantic, conjugal love form like that. What is the harm? So Mahaprabhu said, yes, that is true, but why could she not enter? And then Venkata Bhatta, he could not answer. He could not answer. So what Mahaprabhu did was he began to explain to him the actual tattva. And the actual tattva is that Krishna is not an expansion of Lord Narayan, it is the opposite. Lord Narayan is expansion of expansion of expansion of Krishna. But by tattva, Lord Narayan and Krishna are identical. By tattva. But by rasa vichar, Krishna is far, far superior. But why could Lakshmi Devi not enter the Ras Leela? Although she went to Braj, and although she met Purnamasi Yogamaya, and she was told that if you do all these austerities and you learn the moods of Braj, of being a Brajagopi, then there's some possibility that you can enter. But could she do that? No, because when she was told that you have to attain, you have to take on the moods of the Brajagopis, and their mood is Parakiya Ras, that they have their so-called husband, but they cheat their husbands to go to Krishna. So you will have to take on that mood. She said, never, I can never do that. I can never do that. Lord Narayan is my husband, how I can ever do that? So Lakshmi Devi could not have that kind of relationship with, as she thought, her husband. Because, no, she cannot qualify to enter into that arena. Okay? But yet she's aspiring for that. Why? Because it's so attractive. So your question is, why do they aspire if they have a fixed swarup? They aspire because they want. They may not be able to attain it, but they want. But who is Lakshmi? Lakshmi is expansion of Srimati Radhika ultimately anyway. But yet, she cannot be in that position. Lakshmi Devi herself cannot be in that position because of her relationship with her husband, Lord Narayan. Swakiya, not Parakiya. So we should know that in Krishna's pastimes, the uniqueness, how high, how special, how rare are the rasas that are exhibited there in Braj. How even devotees who are from the realm of Vaikuntha, they even want to attain, but they cannot. They cannot. But those who have come in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have all opportunity to attain this. This is the supreme magnanimity, generosity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That he has come in the Kali Yuga to give to the most unqualified this highest gift. That's why he's called Mahavadanya. Namo Mahavadanyaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate. So Krishna can do that. We read this earlier on. So that's the answer to that question. And we'll continue in our next class. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsidebai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Sajavachai Namo Namah Vansha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Actually, when we go on the Braj Mandala Parikrama, we go there to that place, Belvan, and we hear that Lakshmi Devi is still there. She's not giving up. She's still doing her austerities there. But she will not be able to attain